Hello there, my music lovers. I'm Josh Audiophile-heaven, and today we are having a look at the world's best headphone ever created. And this is a bit of an understatement given who we have here as a guest today. This is the Audeze LCD-5. This is a headphone priced at $4,500 US. So let's get down to the unboxing. With a headphone that comes with a case that's better for guns than for headphones, you have to wonder, what could they even do for $4,500 US? So even the case is high-end, it's not just the headphones, everything is high-end about this one. As you can see, the headphones are presented quite nicely. I should probably avoid dropping this one. I typically play around and horse around with headphones, but this one is special. We have a much better cable than the original cable that comes with all of the other Audeze headphones. Going to make it like this because it's quite long, perfect for desktop users. And we have the identity card of the headphone. This one doesn't contain any particularly sensitive information. And this one, at least this specific piece, was created on 10 February 2022. This will be relevant because the absolutely first batch of the LCD-5 had some issues that some users complained about. So without any other presentation, this is it. The Audeze LCD-5, the headphone that cost $4,500 US. This is more expensive than my first car. I have a better car now, which is cool. But yeah, this headphone is it. This is the highest end of the high end. This is the absolutely best headphone you can purchase at this moment. New and newly created, because there are older headphones that were priced higher, but they just aren't quite as good as the LCD-5. Starting with the construction of the LCD-5, they are quite improved over the previous generations of Audeze LCD headphones because those are much lighter than the original Audeze headphones. Those weigh in just 420 grams, which is lighter than any other Audeze headphone. They are actually quite light on my head. They are comfortable. You need to adjust those two little antennas until you get the best comfort and the best fit. And they provide very little passive noise isolation. I'm counting on them to provide between 5 and 10 decibels of passive noise isolation, but it feels pretty much like you aren't wearing any headphones. They are very transparent and they aren't made to isolate you from the outside noise at all. The design, as you can see, is quite beautiful this time around. Audeze headphones were usually not very flashy, but this one is outstanding in the eye aesthetics. Everything just feels high-end about them. And the cable, this is the part where some users encountered some trouble with them. Some users complained that the jack for the cable at the headphone level, the mini XLR jack, actually was pulled out when trying to pull out the cable. And on my pair, at least, that doesn't happen. And I pulled out both of the mini XLR cables a couple of times to test and to make sure. And also because I experimented with a few aftermarket cables, you need a good cable for them. While usually I do recommend getting a 4.4mm balanced cable for your headphones, with those ones, I actually would recommend full-size XLR and full-size 6.3mm cables for desktop amplifiers. Those aren't quite drivable from any portable. They actually have the lowest sensitivity I have ever seen in a headphone at 90 decibels. So they will take any power that you have to give them. And they have a very low impedance too of just 14 ohms, which means that a ton of amplifiers, if they are not well designed, will run into current overdrive, which will create some kind of artifacts in the sound. You can never mistake current overdrive. If your headphone amplifier is not able to fully drive them, you will hear it as and the sound goes away at every bass hit. I have experienced this as well with the Verum 1 Mark I headphones, although they did rectify it in the Verum 1 Mark II headphones after releasing the original. The Audeze LCD-5 is pretty much the star of every show. Everyone just wants to hear them, everyone just wants to feel them, and they are somewhat attainable compared to systems like the Sennheiser Orpheus system, which cost $50,000 US, much higher than the Audeze LCD-5. The Audeze LCD-5 will actually beat the Sennheiser Orpheus in many aspects, and I can say this because I do have experience with the original Sennheiser Orpheus system, but I am talking about the new Orpheus, the EH1 from Sennheiser. You need to consider this. When purchasing a headphone like the Audeze LCD-5, you probably have heard many headphones and many high-end stereo systems. You probably have some experience with audio, so you probably know what to expect from a planar magnetic headphone. You probably know how those drivers work. But even if you do not know, those are made with extremely large drivers. They have the largest drivers I've seen in a headphone at 19 20mm. Basically the largest drivers I've seen in a headphone. Audeze is also the main designer of planar magnetic drivers out there, so they are basically the ones who refined and redesigned the planar magnetic drivers the most, and they wanted to create the best headphone ever created by them. They are the same company who created the LCD-4, the LCD-4Z, and other headphones that every single one of us wanted to purchase at some point. So they decided to put everything in and create the LCD-5, a headphone that is comfortable, that is actually wearable, because their other models were quite a bit heavier, and this one you can wear in for hours without getting any wearing fatigue, and a headphone that is actually ideal for actual usage, for life, for everyday usage with your main system. This is not a headphone made out of unicorns and out of magic like the Sennheiser HE1, which is supposed to be manually installed by two Sennheiser engineers when you purchase it. So imagine this, you want to purchase a headphone like the Sennheiser HE1, and you actually have that kind of money to purchase a headphone, and you actually give them a call and ask them if you can purchase it, and they say yes, but you need two Sennheiser engineers to come and install that into your home. Like, that feels a bit of a letdown to me, because it is a very complicated system that will require a ton of work and a ton of effort to keep going. Also, with the current situation where we are running out of tubes, and that is a very serious problem, having the Sennheiser HE1 relies mostly on tubes is not a great thing. You can drive the Audeze LCD-5 with both solid state and tube amplifiers, which is great, and I actually have had better overall experience with solid state amplifiers than I had with tube amplifiers. You're probably curious about the sound, right? This is why you're here, to learn how the best headphone in the entire world should sound like. And it sounds as you'd expect. It sounds perfect. It is crystal clear with any music, regardless of the volume. It has absolute control over the bass, and it has the lowest distortion I have ever heard in a headphone. Basically, it is like being there at the concert, or being right there in the room with the musician while he was playing his instrument. They have more of a studio presentation than of a live presentation. They have this very refined presentation when you hear every single detail, every single cymbal crash, every single texture, and every single bass note. And this is interesting because they have absolutely no roll off in the bass or in the treble. They present both of them perfectly. They just have this perfect type of sound where they will present just music as it should be. Present music perfectly refined, perfectly detailed, and with the best of the dynamics and transparency available to mankind. I am trying to make a point about how practical they are actually here, because most flagship headphones and most flagship equipment tends to be very impractical, and I hate that about all of this equipment. I hate unpractical equipment. I just want a pair of headphones like the LCD-5 to enjoy with my music, my games, my live concerts, my movies, everything that I already am consuming. I don't want to change my basic consuming algorithms for a headphone. This shouldn't redefine how you feel about music and how you feel about life. And they don't. That is the good part. Audeze created a headphone that you can simply plug in a speaker amplifier like the Cyrus OneCast, which I have in the back. I am really enjoying the OneCast, and basically you can enjoy them. That's it. You just plug them in, you put them on your head, and you press play. You press play to your favorite music track, regardless whether that is some dance gavin dance or some jazz or some classical music. You just press play. They have no delay, they have no problems, they have nothing you need to worry about. No special power conditioners are necessary, absolutely nothing. Just a good DAC/headphone amplifier to drive them. And there are countless options out there. Even something quite affordable like the Rebel amp can drive them quite well. You don't really need to have the best amplifier in the world to drive them properly. And at $880 we have the Audio GD Master 19, which is absolutely perfect for the Audeze LCD-5, and I found out to give them the most beautiful sound for the least cost. And paying about $880 for the Audio GD Master 19 is absolutely perfect. You just have a power amplifier that can drive them fully to their full power for less than a quarter of their. I just find that convenient, and I cannot insist enough on how convenient they are to use. You can see me wearing gloves, and I'm going to take them out now, even though they do provide a bit of a sexy content for today's video. The point of Audeze LCD-5 is bringing that high-end audiophile experience to you in your everyday life. They are a pair of headphones that are lightweight, comfortable, and that sound amazing. I will be doing a full written review where I will try better to describe their overall sonic presentation and their overall detail, because it is quite complicated to do it in voice, especially without hearing them right now. I usually tend to write written reviews while listening to the equipment I am describing, so that I can provide you my most honest and most raw thoughts and feelings in writing. The Audeze LCD-5 has been to me an eye-opener. you can get sounds in music that you never knew exist. And there are tracks like the Linkin Park discography, which you wouldn't even believe has more information than it usually presents you. You wouldn't think that there is more to Linkin Park than you already heard, but there is much more, and you can use the Audeze LCD-5 to hear that. You can use them to listen to that information. There are a pair of headphones that you can get custom cables for them. You could drive them out of a portable. There are portables strong enough to drive them, and you could just enjoy them on the go at your home with your current setup, and that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Comparing them to other headphones is quite interesting because their price point is a major problem there. They are more expensive than most headphones and headphone systems I have ever listened to. Comparing them to Kenner Tone Roar, which is $3,000, a bit less, the Audeze LCD-5 has much better overall detail, much better overall resolution, better control, and a much better bass width, much better impact, and much better bass extension. Kenner Tone Roar tends to have a much lower bass extension, and they do tend to roll off a bit in the lowest of basses. That doesn't happen with the Audeze LCD-5, and they tend to have that perfect bass presentation, like a perfect line. They have absolutely everything in the bass, and that is absolutely beautiful. I really love their bass extension. The Audeze LCD-5 can also be compared positively to pretty much all of the other headphones I've tested to date. They are more resolute and they have a more detailed sound than the Roson RAD0. They outdo the HiFiMan Araya Stealth at both soundstage, clarity, definition, and resolution. They are much better than the HiFiMan Araya Stealth in pretty much every single aspect. They are better than even the Sonoma Model 1 in both detail, control, and the maximum overall volume that you can get from the Audeze LCD-5. The Sonoma Model 1 tends to struggle a bit with the bass and with extremely high volumes, where the Audeze LCD-5 and a pretty medium DAC/headphone amplifier like the Cyrus Onecast I have in the back is just perfect. You won't ever struggle listening to them, and that is the beauty of the Audeze LCD-5. You just put them on your head, put on your favorite track, even if that is emo or some trashy music like pop from the 2000s, and you enjoy it. And absolutely admire this at them. You don't really need a special setup to listen to them. You don't need special gloves while wearing them, and I honestly will be using them at my daily setup. I would probably even take them outdoors for a walk. But I am a bit concerned because if those drop on the ground, that would be a $4,500 mistake. And that is just not acceptable, I'll be honest with you. At any rate, please look forward to my full written review on Audiophile-heaven. If you have questions, please put them in the comment section and I will try my best to answer them. Please make sure to have the loveliest of weeks out there, and don't forget to subscribe to Audiophile-heaven for more content from me, and give a like to this video if you enjoyed my new presentation and if you enjoyed my review of the Audeze LCD-5. Hope to see you soon and hope you really have a lovely week in there. Bye bye!